What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we are checking back in on Star Valor. Once again, lots of checkups this month. I've talked about it once or twice over the course of the last week of uploads, but there's gonna be a lot of checkups. There's no games coming out until like the 4th. Like Q3 says that it has games coming out. Q2 said that too. Like, it's a little bit slow right now. And so up until kind of August gets here, there's not really going to be a whole lot of new stuff. I knew it was an issue because my buddy Italics, I saw him on Twitch. He took like a week and a half off for a vacation. And when he got back, he was like, it's amazing going on vacation for like 2 weeks and being like a new release streamer and missing absolutely nothing. Like, Steam is in the exact same state that it was when I left a week and a half ago. Like, yep. And so anyways, we're going to be checking out Star Valor. If you don't know what Star Valor is, it is an open-world action RPG about managing your own space fleet, annihilating enemies, tackling storyline missions, and otherwise just freelancing and sort of doing whatever the hell it is that you want to do. We covered this game about a year ago. It has continued to get updates from the developer. He's been knocking out content updates like left and right over the course of the last year or so. It's added new ships, it's added new storylines, it's added all kinds of stuff, so we're going to dive back on in today, and I'm going to do my best to convince you why this game is super awesome, and that if you're a fan of things like Transcendence, or Escape Velocity, and also Diablo, this might be the game for you. So look down below if you wanted to get the game for yourself. It is not an early access. This game is done. The developer, however, has been putting out like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 patches, supporting the game after release off of his own dime, which is a tremendously nice thing for him to do. In addition, you can look down there and you'll find a link to my Discord and my Twitch stream, just in case you wanted to hang out live on any given day of the week, because I also stream. I stream all the time. I'm constantly streaming. So here we are. I'm out in the middle of space, just kind of hanging out, and talking about space, there is a whole lot of it. Now that we've cut away from that big old giant space station battle, this game has kind of like mountain warband intrigue that happens between factions. You can see it happening right here, actually, inside this zone. There's some kind of battle going on. Maybe we'll go check that out, because that's roughly the same level that we are at. Looks like we've also got a job to kill a notorious pirate over here, and he's actually just up north of us. Yeah, let's go ahead and summon in our fleet. Now that I've summoned on in my fleet, we can chase down this pirate that we're supposed to be killing. So as of right now, I'm about 7 or 8 hours into this playthrough, in case you're wondering how far into the game I am right now. I've gotten a nice little fleet of guys that are protecting me. Oh, our target was soft. We got him nice and easy. A lithium skin. Experimental armor, same durability as titanium, but lighter. Oh, but it costs twice as much to repair because it's experimental. Gotcha. I'll see if I can pick that up a little. Wow, a Mark IV impulse drive. For real? That's pretty crazy. Sorry, you don't know what a Mark IV impulse drive is. So an impulse drive is what makes your ship go vroom vroom. It makes it go forward. It makes it go speedy, speedy, boom, boom. And like having a mark number after it, like a mark designation, is actually kind of a big deal because it means that it's like twice or 3 times as good. And that's a Mark IV, which means that it's like crazy good. Cleared that pirate hideout right there. Good, good, good looking. It's a little bit dark in this area of space, ain't it? We've also got, what is that? And we've got like an elite red skull critter in front of us right here. That's a ram ship. Be very, very careful about the prow on the front of it. This thing's entire function is basically to act as a fire ship and run into you. And when it runs into you, dude, it stings. It hurts like hell. Experimental X-27 flax cannon right there. It looks like there's some kind of crazy stuff happening in this zone because there's a war fleet. It looks like the Proxima Mining Company is going to war with somebody over here. They've got a whole bunch of critters flying around. Let's see where they end up. So the bare basics that you need to know about this game if you wanted to fly around the stars. Well, you've got your health up at the top left. That's your hull. You've got the blue underneath that, which is the energy that's being generated by your associated reactor. Oh, are they just a mining fleet? Like, I don't even know if they're going to war with anybody right now. It kind of felt like they were going to go to war with somebody, but it doesn't look like they're flying off to do anything. Underneath that in the top left, you got the blue meter. The blue meter is going to be your energy that's being produced by your reactors, or reactor if you've just got one big one. This game is highly, highly customizable. when it comes to the design of ships. Wow, I'm getting chewed on pretty good right now. These Marauders hurt. And then underneath that, you've got your shield points in light blue. Oh, it's because those guys are using shield-piercing weapons. Gotcha. So there are ballistic weapons in this game. Ballistic weapons entirely ignore shields. Ooh, an epic charging heavy laser, too. What's up with these drones right here? Are they friendly? Oh, they are. Look at that. They healed me up. Dude, thank you, little miners. They're using their little repair beams to make my life better, dude. A friend indeed. See, you help some guys out. You fight some pirates. And they reward you. We got like $700 for that, too, and a 3.0 loot finder software. Very nice. Thermal regulator over here. One of the activities in this game you can do is knocking out pirate strongholds. Knocking those out will usually give you some kind of high-tier loot that you can play around with. At the end of the day, this is a Diablo-styled game, just with space fleets. That's all. Is there like an enemy base over here? Is that why these guys are all lining up? Like, they're all kind of hanging out like sharks right now. There is indeed a pirate base over there, so we're just going to go ahead and wait for the clash, and then we'll participate in the festivities. Looks like the opening skirmishes are starting to take place as this faction attempts to get all these pirates up off of the warp gates. So basically they're going to try to secure the warp gates, and then right on the other side of this warp gate, which goes sector to sector, they are going to try to wipe out a base that's just to our left. Now, in Star Valor, there's really not a whole lot of point to the game. There are storylines and there are narratives that are attached to the factions as you get closer to them. Right now, you can see that I am friends with the Proxima Mining Company because I did some mining, and I also protected one of their bases from an invasion with my small fleet. However, the ultimate goal of the game is really just to make money and to upgrade your ships and to become increasingly powerful. And you do that by doing tasks, jobs, deliveries, bounties, those sorts of things. All of the normal tropes that you expect to see inside of a space game are here. But where the game gets a little crazy and original is that you've got this massive list of customizability on each of your ships, and there's like a gazillion different ships in this game. Every faction has like 12 different ships, and there's like a bunch of factions. You can put anything you want in here as long as it fits in the slots, and that they're not like a weight class above yours. And then from there, there's crafting systems that allow you to upgrade these things Diablo style so that their stats get better, and you've got to do that across an entire fleet. And that leads to a very, very satisfying experience of watching your team develop and grow. But that's not all. Oh, this little pirate wants some smoke, huh? All right, I got some smoke for you. I got smoke and the fire for you. Are those missiles being aimed at me? I think they might be. There's also level ups, talent trees. We'll take a look at those in a second, but it looks like the initial battle is beginning. They're starting bombardment of the space station. We don't want to go anywhere near this space station. Fair warning, this space station is going to have enough ordnance to basically melt us instantly. We're inside of a Corvette right now, and you really don't want to pull up on a space station unless you're in something heavy like a cruiser. And even then, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot. There's also level ups you can do. So this is our character sheet right here. There's a bunch of different talents. Every time you level up, you get a new talent. And I'm happy to say that all of the skills here that I've seen so far have all been useful and super fun to utilize. I think the batteries are only focusing on my ship for some reason. This guy just pulled up and he's throwing bombs at us. Things are not looking good for the home fleet right now, though. It's absolutely not looking like they're gonna make it. They're not even through the shields yet. Yeah, they're trying, but I think the fleet is gonna get got. We need to pull off real quick before they melt us. You saw how fast our HP went down right there, but this may be time to beat a retreat. Sometimes it takes a number of waves for a faction to bring down another faction's base, if they ever do in the first place. But at this point, we are losing, which in my opinion means it's not our fight. Let's get out of here. I was happy to assist while things were moving along, but they're not really moving along anymore, are they? I have a deuterium drive on my ship. It allows me to warp around. There are, an improved upgrade kit. Very nice. There are a number of activities you can do in this game outside the structured sort of war zone activities, or the activities of doing missions. One of them is scavenging, so you'll find debris fields from time to time. And as you scavenge debris fields, my ship goes invisible whenever I'm in a debris field. It's one of the perks of my ship. I don't think ships had that the last time I played the game, but now every single ship has a number of traits that are attached to the ship that make them do things or makes them better for certain roles. My ship goes invisible in debris fields, and when I harvest scrap, I get my HP back. Little things like that. Am I full up on inventory space right now? I am, actually. We are super overloaded. My fleet is decimated. We need to find a place where we can kind of R&R for a minute and find some new stuff to do. Space station discovered. There are a number of different backgrounds and sort of space layouts in this game. I found the game to actually be really pretty. Like, it's a simplistic game if you zoom in on it. Like, it doesn't have the craziest graphics, but the game uses lighting effects to a very successful level. Let me summon in my fleet. They're all, like, destroyed right now. They all need to kind of, like, dock and repair themselves. There we go. We've got a mission to take out a pirate base over here, so I'll go ahead and do that. That sounds like the kind of thing I can get behind. I'm going to scrap that guy right there so that I can level up my tech level. I'm going to scrap that plasma torpedo. I'm going to scrap the capital impulse drive. The Mark IV impulse drive we're going to hold on to, though. I lost my epic loot because we had to kind of, like... reload a save after I got insta-melted by the defenses and rerun the battle. If you're wondering where the purpley-warpley went that we looted, alright? This is one of those cases where, with editing, I ended up getting melted when I was doing an explanation of how the invasion was happening and whatnot, and like, it happens to the best of us, man. We don't always make it. There are a number of cool things you can do in this game with regards to the inventory. You've got your own resource stash, you've got your equipment stash and your weapon stashes where you can keep things out of your ship's inventories. In order to keep them just kind of like organized so that you can upgrade things. I do have a thing that will upgrade to a blue tier right now. I think I'm going to upgrade... I'm going to upgrade one of my medium lasers to blue tier, I think right there. And so that gave us a very solid 25% DPS increase. Let's get our fleet together and we'll see if we can knock out this pirate base. Aside from scavenging and salvaging, you can also become a space geologist, and you can just mine asteroid fields. Like, you can legitimately make a giant fleet of ships in this game if you don't like combat, to just eat an asteroid field like this like it's popcorn and make it disappear in minutes. It's actually pretty incredible to watch. I've never made a mining fleet in this game, but I watched someone else make a mining fleet, and it was actually sort of absurd how good his fleet was at turning around rocks. Alright, pirate base, what you got for me over here? Looks like we got a marauder on this side. I'm going to start peppering him a little bit. Cliff Oberman, my pilot right there, he's got shield-piercing bullets, which are pretty good, man. I like them a lot versus smaller ships. The pirates have been wiped out, so we can go back now and we can get ourselves a free item, along with 900 XP, 2 fine components, and probably a nice little chunk of change. Let's go find out. These right here are your secondary skills that I was talking about. So tech level will determine how well you can salvage debris piles. Space pilot is, if you want to play lone wolf and you don't want to have a fleet at all, space pilot levels up, and that's what makes you the equivalent of having like a fleet. Alternatively, if you do want to have a fleet, you will level up your fleet command skill, and in leveling up your fleet command skill, you will attain sort of that parity via having multiple ships. Geology is how you mine. And then exploration is just you flying and uncovering fog of war, and it makes you better at warping and moving around the map. At the station, ready to collect that paycheck. I love that ship design right there. It reminds me, like, that's a really cool ship design. Honestly, I like most of these independent designs. I'll probably take the debris analyzer, tier 2, and then from there, that Mark IV impulse drive, I'm going to save it for later. I don't need it right now, but that's really good for somebody at some point, and so I'll hold on to it. The debris analyzer, I don't know if I have one of those. I do. I have a debris analyzer, so I actually don't need that guy. We can scrap it. We can also scrap the energy barrier, and then from there, I think we should be ready to go out and find ourselves a brand new quest to make some money. To me, it looks like we've got another fleet over here that's fighting with some pirates. So I think, oh, it's the merchant faction. Okay, so it's like the trade conglomerate or whatever they are. All of their ships kind of have like a what's the name of the, I don't know if you've ever played Elite Dangerous, what's the name of the faction, like the Empire, they bask or whatever? These guys have all kind of like the bird-shaped ships. Let's see where their fleet's going. Well, I believe that the fleet has arrived in the conflict zone. We got some elite mobs around here. I gotta be really careful though, because these guys like to turn on a dime and bust you up with that little prow thing that they have. Heavy plasma cannon, very nice. One of my favorite things about this game is how like every fight is a giant explosion of loot. It pleases me. An elite merchant is going in. So are all of my guys, I guess. I was gonna hang back, but you guys can do what you're gonna do, I suppose. Just make sure you teleport out. Your units can die. They can get exploded. They also level up and get better at the game as they go along. However, you can give them each a warp drive, just like I have, to fast travel. And if they have a warp drive installed, when their health gets down to like 1 HP, they teleport out, and it saves them from being destroyed. What's this little guy doing right here? Getting repaired is what he's doing. Man, these guys are getting melted on this side. If you guys would just attack with your entire fleet, this wouldn't be going so badly. Instead, you guys are like hanging back and like not doing anything. You guys got to hit them in like a big wave. Get them all in one go. That guy's retreating. Oh boy, definitely don't want to be involved with that. What's up, little pirate? You want to hang out with me? Everybody else is doing big boy fights over here around the station. Ah, my butthole! Cease that right now. No more butthole blasts. Well, they almost got the shields down. I mean, that's better than usual. I don't even know what that little dude's doing. He's not like attacking anybody. He's just like flying around. Are you guys just gonna like whelp into the side of this station like everybody else did? I'd probably recommend against it. On the plus side, we got a level up from that experience right there. I can go ahead and take care of that. You're divided up into different trees. You've got engineering, which is basically improvements for your raw stats. Combat, which makes you better at fighting and shields. You've got exploration, which makes you faster and tends to do with agility. You've got business, which is self-explanatory for trading, because you can trade in this game if you want. There's also social, which gives you a number of different factional bonuses. And effectively, there's a super perk at the bottom of each of these trees that requires you to have some combination of one tree and another tree in order to take it. I'm probably just going to throw a point into Master Scavenging. That way I get +1 to the rarity level for all of the items that I scavenge. It's going to make it much easier to upgrade my fleet and like add new things to them and make them stronger. In the meantime, I will show you kind of what ship outfitting looks like inside of this game as well, so that we can knock it on out. And you'll have some rough idea of what I consider to be the most addictive part of this game. So I don't really care what we recruit right here. We can't really afford too much, but we can afford a galaxy. So I'm going to go ahead and buy myself a little galaxy yacht. Now, there are bigger ships available, like the one that I'm piloting, which is the Space Ranger. Over here is the Eagle. I have one of those too. There's the Theseus, which is a shipping barge. But for right now, what we'll need to do is we will go to our hangar, and we'll take this galaxy, and we will swap. Let's add it to our fleet. And I need to add a pilot. There we go. So Lenny Strauss has been added. And then we're going to come over here to Lenny, and we're going to say refit. Hey, Doc, fool. We're going to come over to Lenny, and we're going to say refit. Now, Lenny's got 3 slots for weapons, and he's got 16 slots for gear inside of my extra loot. I don't really have anything for a ship of his size, except for this Mark IV impulse drive that'll make him very fast. So what we're going to need is, we're probably going to need like 1 more nuclear reactor. We're going to need a deuterium drive. We are going to need lateral thrusters so that he can do a barrel roll. I don't think we're going to need a gyroscope. I think we're good on that front. We're going to need like 2 shield generators. And then as far as weapons go, a Gatling Vulcan would be pretty cool. How big is the Gatling Vulcan? It takes up 2 slots. So technically he could have a fast Vulcan and he could have a Gatling Vulcan. I'm going to give him the Gatling Vulcan for right now. And then he's also going to need some ammo for that. But let's go ahead and swap this whole thing on in. So first things first, extra reactor goes right on in there. We'll put in the deuterium warp drive so that he can warp away when he gets too damaged so that we don't lose him. We've got 2 shield generators right there. I think that's not too bad. He's probably going to need a battery, I think, so we'll give him the... Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. We will give him the Gatling Vulcan right here. So that's all ready to go. He's got one more slot left to go, but he's only got like one hard point in his nose cone. You can move the guns around. So for example, on my ship, I have like 4 hard points and I can move the guns in between them so that I get different ranges of fire. Some of those hard points are going to be automatable as well, where you can take a pilot and put them in there and they'll act as like a door gunner or like a tail gunner to protect you from enemies. Usually use it for point defense and shooting down missiles and stuff like that, but it's not entirely confined to that function. However, your average ship in this game is incredibly customizable to a ridiculous extent. Aside from the stuff that you can get from just about, let's call it, yeah, just fill him up entirely with Vulcan ammo, I guess. Aside from the stuff that you can get from factions and the generic stuff, there's also rare stuff. There's things that are made by a rare faction called the Tin Heads, which are basically AI that specialize in manufacturing lost tech. Which is technology that's been lost to time, basically. If you find one of their stations, you can get all kinds of crazy things that you can't get anywhere else. On top of that, there's a full crafting system that allows you to upgrade your gear. There are enhancement slots on each of your ships, which take these crafting materials that we're finding throughout the galaxy and put permanent perks on your ship that make them stronger. You can collect blueprints, will allow you to manufacture just about anything in the game. You can make custom weapons that can be, you know, a burst. You can make a fully automatic laser of whatever color that you want that then explodes on impact. You can, like, combine things over here, basically, to create custom weapons. I mean, the game is just hugely, ridiculously addictive and expansive with the amount of things that you can just do. And that's, like, all there is to it. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. Why do I like Star Valor? Like, why have I spent so much time over the years covering it and its updates, culminating in this, which is probably going to be one of the last times that I cover it, because it's more or less done as it stands right now. It's had a few big content patches from the developer, but who knows how long that can go on. And I think the answer is because I think this is the perfect example, like Star Sector, of a single developer with limited means, very little help, starting small with a game and slowly adjusting the scale that they can handle until the game becomes a big monster and much more than the sum of its parts. While the game isn't wild on graphics, it still looks good. There's some really rad hulls out there, and there's some amazing lighting effects that actually trick the game into looking better than it actually does and forcing it to look modern on a budget. This is very tasteful, tactful stuff that's been done visually that deserves to be recognized. The battles, they throb with laser fire and explosions and lighting, crackling lasers of varying varieties, bursting and beaming and all that kind of stuff, and the game feels and looks good to play. The main thing, though, I think that you'll find is the draw with Star Valor, is that it kind of gives you a space opera sandbox to toy around in, because at the end of the day, it's a game about tinkering, much like Star Sector. This is a game that gives you an absurdly large amount of freedom to do whatever you want with every single piece of equipment that you put on your ships from the get-go, and between standard, faction, hidden hulls, hidden gear, it's going to take you a long time to test and play around with everything. And that's before you even factor in that you can craft your own gear that is customized to do whatever you want it to do. If you want to combine a machine gun with a laser, go for it. You can do it if you have the crafting materials. So this is like kind of a tinkerer's wildest dream here. From there, I think the game is going to fold you into its core gameplay loop, which is that never-ending hunt for materials to craft and upgrade with. Every single activity in the game is going to generate you some cash to buy the things that you need, along with other little bits and bobs that can't be purchased that you can combine together and apply to slowly increase the color quality of your gear, one by one, from white all the way up till legendary. And the upgrades feel tangible, like it's usually around 25% that it increases in efficiency between each gear level. Like a fleet that's geared out in all purples is going to absolutely drop massive, ridiculously dense dookies on a fleet that's in all white gear. Like, that's a fact. And so you get that feedback of working hard and tracking down all this stuff to upgrade your loadouts and taking on bigger challenges and seeing the results unfold for themselves. From there, you can participate in faction fights, There's narratives out there that you can find once you get your stats up high enough to be respected. You could go and mine entire asteroid fields, as I talked about earlier. There's sandbox activities like pirate hunting. You can scout uncharted sectors in which all kinds of weird things happen. You can join up with hyper-religious aliens to exterminate humanity. There are enormous death ships that are floating around in random zones that act as sort of like MMORPG-styled raid bosses that test your fleet and like your gearing, and you can go after them for like the super ridiculously rare drops, like the really, really good stuff. And so you can even go out and hunt down just abandoned ships that are floating through space that may come in cool variants that you can't get anywhere else. Like, this is one of those games that has always had me ensnared, but with each patch, it got me more and more into it, because I think it plays on both my enjoyment of open-world RPGs where I can do whatever I want without being confined and comforted by a narrative, but also Diablo-style gearing systems, but simplified. So, like, your gear that drops in this game, it doesn't have affixes and modifiers on it like it does in Diablo. It's a very simple system. Every gun has like 5 different grades of color, and there's like a couple of rare versions of each gun, and that's that. And the path is very simple. Pick up white version of gun, go do missions and sandbox activities until you have enough upgrade kits to upgrade it to like epic or higher, and then you move on to the next piece of gear. Now that I'm done with my gun, I'm gonna work on my engine. Oh, what's that? I need to get myself a new speed booster? Well, maybe I'll craft one that's customized. And so I would say that if you're looking for something like Space Pirates and Zombies with a little bit less of a narrative focus and like a lot of Diablo influences, I think this is a really solid game. I like it a lot. If you're looking for a sandbox RPG, it's a great game. If you're looking to do just about any of the activities like trading or mining or fighting that are associated with space games and space operas in general, once again, I can't recommend it highly enough. I wholeheartedly recommend Star Valor. You could do a whole lot worse in the realm of indie space games than this. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were fooling around with an old favorite which has had a number of large, chunky updates since the last time we covered it about a year ago, a little game called Star Valor. I will see you all tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet. Until then, thank you for giving me the luxury of your time, and I think it's time for me to head on out. Thanks, folks.